twowayradios.com? Check, check. By twowayradios.com?
It's the Two-Way Radio Show.
And welcome to the Two-Way Radio Show. I'm Rick Savoya.
And I'm Danny Feemster.
And this is the podcast about two-way radios for business and consumer communications. Today we'll talk about a new handheld CB radio from President and compare it with another model that is currently available. We'll also take some of your comments and questions from our blog and our forum at twowayradioforum.com. Our show is sponsored by twowayradios.com, the source of two-way radios and radio accessories for businesses and consumers since 2002. twowayradios.com, your radio specialists. A few years ago, President made waves on the CB band with the introduction of the Randy FCC, a handheld with a lithium-ion battery and some features usually found only on the mobiles. The Randy proved to be popular, so when the FCC approved FM on CB, President wasted no time in adding that capability to their lineup and created the Randy 2. Now they have a new handheld model, the Jerry. Is this the same as the Randy 2, or is it something different?
Well, it looks to me like it's very similar to the Randy, but at a much lower price. So I think they've got a hit on their hands. I think this is going to be a very popular CB.
I think so too. As I recall, when the Randy 2 first came out, a lot of people were clamoring for it. They thought, well, this is a really nice radio, but then they saw the price, and there were some CBers that complained that it was just a little bit too pricey for an HT CB. And I don't know. I don't think they're wrong. Do you?
You don't think they're wrong that it's pricey?
Yeah.
I agree. Considering handheld CBs, the Randy is at the absolute top at $165, and you can get a handheld CB, and I wouldn't call it a great handheld CB, but some of the Cobra and Uniden models start at about $40, I think.
Yeah, they're not that expensive, and Midland makes a couple, and hey, the Ocean
Midland's in the mid range.
Yeah,
there's a KGS-72C.
Yeah.
We sell through Ocean. That's very small, and I think a very good CB.
So with all of those, that puts the Randy 2 as the top tier, the most expensive. Now, granted,
it's probably the best though. I'll say
it is a nice radio.
The best handheld CB radio. The Randy 2 is the way to go, but we need to talk about the Jerry. Now, I think we should say, you and I haven't seen the Jerry. We've got the spec sheet on the Jerry. You've added it to the website. We're waiting on our shipment to arrive. Now, when you guys see or listen to this podcast, it will be available, but we're recording a few days before our shipment arrives. So we haven't seen it. But based on the specs, it seems very close to the Randy in capability. It looks like the Randy. There are just a few differences, and you built a great chart on the blog post that you wrote on our website that lays out all of the features of each radio with the differences. Do you want to go through some of those on what?
I just want to make a note here that as far as the complaints about the high price, I think President was listening in on this, and they were responding by offering this new model because it's a lot like the Randy 2, but there are some notable differences, and because of that, they're able to adjust the price point accordingly. So I think people will really like this.
Let's talk about the price. We're at $129 for the Jerry. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's $35 less than the Randy.
Now, with that price adjustment does come some other adjustments to the radio itself to compensate for that.
What
but we'll
do you
get
lose?
into that.
Yeah. What do you lose? That's the big question.
Yeah. I don't know that you really lose anything per se, because I don't know that some of those items were really utilized a lot by some of the CBers.
It seems to me like they stripped out a lot of the noise features, like the noise gate, Compander. So the audio sweetener functions.
Yeah.
So I don't think a lot of people were really paying attention or using that stuff anyway.
I agree.
They reduced the functionality of the scan feature a little, it seems. EMG customizable. I don't even know what that is.
Well, I can explain that one in just a moment. But let's just say that the Jerry FCC is maybe what we could call the Randy 2 Lite. That's what I would like to call it, the Randy 2 Lite. And I think that kind of sums it up for the most part. Now, both of these radios work in AM and FM modes, and they really, for the most part, they're pretty much the same. They even look the same. They basically are sitting in the same shell for the most part. But there may be a couple of differences with cosmetically, but I think that's mostly in the display.
I think the display is what most people are going to miss going from the Randy to the Jerry, because the Randy has, I believe, 7 different display color options.
Yes.
So you can change the background color of the screen to any one of 7 colors. So that's a really cool option. And you only get the one color on the Jerry. It's kind of orange, I believe, right? From the pictures they've released.
Right. And the thing is, the display, it's a nice, crisp display. It's easy to look at pretty much no matter what color you're looking at it in. So it's not like you're losing the quality of the display at all. You're just dropping down from 7 colors to 1. And let's face it, orange is actually not a bad background, not a bad display color to have, either in at night or in the daytime. It's actually fairly pleasing to the eye for the most part. So I think President did pretty well in choosing, okay, which display color are we going to use? We have to cut out 6 of them. Which is the one we're going to use? And I think orange was a good choice, in my opinion.
Well, I think that's going to be up to the individual person. You're going to find some people that would prefer blue. Some people would. What we really hear is from people going, I want my radio display to match the interior color in my vehicle. And maybe that's because we're hearing from people that are buying mobile vehicle radios, but I've heard that a lot. And that's not really that big of a deal to me. I'm not I've never really cared much about the cosmetic features or the color things, but those things are really important to some users.
But other than display, there's really no difference cosmetically to it. In fact, it has the same 9-key, keyboard there that the Randy 2 has, and is basically the same keypad. So not really much difference there. There is one item that we missed when we were talking about some of the noise features, like the compacting and things like that are missing in this version. That's Vox. That's another feature that I don't know of anyone who really uses Vox, not in any practical sense anyway. So, who's missing Vox?
Vox, if you don't know what Vox is, it allows you hands-free use of the radio so that it's listening for a sound and then it automatically starts transmitting when it hears a noise over a certain level. And it's problematic anyway. I don't think it's a widely used feature, and it probably doesn't work right when you try to use it.
So there are a few features that it does lack, and those are all features, as Danny was just saying, are pretty, I don't know, kind of extraneous, I think, for the most part, for a lot of users. But it's probably not enough to knock off $35 off the cost of the radio. So that's not where that ends. It's different in the sense of what it comes with the feature, with the accessories that are included with this radio. Now, the Randy 2 comes with a drop-in charger, an external mobile antenna adapter, a microphone and radio hanger, a belt clip, and even a wrist strap. Not that the wrist strap costs that much. Ocean provides wrist straps with all of the radios, and it's like, who uses the wrist strap? Well, to be honest, I do sometimes, but don't tell anyone. But aside from that, that's what comes with the Randy 2, but the Jerry doesn't have any of that. Instead, what it comes with the radio, and it comes with a combo vehicle charging / antenna adapter and a fuse. That's pretty much the extent of the accessories that come with the Jerry. I'm sure there are going to be some questions to why no drop-in charger? Why not? But the vehicle charging adapter pretty much serves it serves as the charger for the most part. And just like the Randy 2, the Jerry was designed not just for a handheld operation, but also for mobile use inside a vehicle. Right.
It includes this mobile adapter, which I'm sure President is saving money by installing by including the mobile adapter instead of the drop-in charger and the AC adapter for charging and all that. And the mobile adapter is kind of cool. It attaches to the bottom of the radio, I believe. Mm-hmm. And then there's a 12 volt DC plug for charging the battery. And then there's another cable that comes out of the mobile adapter that connects to your antenna.
Right.
But I wonder, is there a way to charge the battery on the Jerry other than by plugging it into the vehicle?
I'm not really sure, but I have another question that's related to that. And once you stick the antenna onto that adapter cable to put outside the vehicle, how do you mount it outside the vehicle with the adapter? That's kind of what
I don't really like the way
about.
They did the antenna adapter. They made the mobile antenna adapter. It's just a cable with the same type of antenna connector that's on the radio, which is a TNC connector.
Yeah.
So the idea is you take the antenna off the radio, you attach it to the end of the cable, but then where do you put it? Do you just sit it on your dash?
Not really sure.
It doesn't seem like there's a great option for that. I wish they'd made that mobile adapter have a SO239 connector, which is what most externally mounted antennas have.
Well, I did look in the manual to get the information, see, okay, what do you do with this? And the manual has two basic instructions. If you're going to use it as a mobile radio, what you do is you unscrew the antenna from the radio, and then you put it onto this adapter, and I guess you set the adapter outside externally, and that's pretty much all it says about that. That's all that's there. So,
I wonder about charging the battery. Like, how do you charge the battery? It doesn't have a USB connection.
Well, I can look at the manual if I still have the manual pulled up, because it doesn't really go into detail on that. It doesn't say anything really.
Well, maybe there's something we're missing. Like we said, we don't have the radio yet.
Yeah.
Maybe there's another way to charge the battery that doesn't require a 12 volt vehicle port. I can't wait to get my hands on one of these things so I can see how it works. And maybe there's a USB port on there. That would be the best thing for them to have done, is to include a USB-C charging port right on the radio. Everyone would have loved that. Hopefully it's there. And they haven't given us any images of the sides of the radio or the back of the radio. I'm looking through those now.
Not really. I think we're pretty much going to have to take our own. Well, and here's the thing about President. And the President radios are really good. I mean, President makes some really good radios, and they do a great job of.
They really do. It's a fantastic radio.
Yeah, they do. When you go to President's website, they have all these pictures of the radio, but they're all in the same position. They're just with the 7 different colors. So you see the radio in the same spot with 7 different display colors, and you can't see the sides, you can't see the back, you can't look up or down or all around. You don't get any of that. So you can't really get a fair assessment of what the radio looks like physically, except for the display. And the display's nice. I I'll grant you that. The display is
normally
nice.
It's not. Normally, it's not an issue because we're not doing an episode on the radio. We don't have in hand very often.
Yeah. But in this case, it would help.
it would help because I'm a little confused about the charging.
I think we both are. So having said that, I mean, this is what comes with the radio. Run down the list real quick. Basically, I mean, you've got all 40 CB radio channels, AM and FM modes. It's 4 watts on both AM and FM. You got the 7 weather channels, and that's the one thing the president's very consistent about, as they've been putting in the weather channels and the weather alert. So, and I think that's a great feature to have on any radio, particularly a handheld. So they've got it here in this one. The preset emergency channels. You were asking me about the EMG channels before. These are
the Randy only feature, right? That's something they took out for the Jerry.
Yeah, well, actually, no. It's in the Jerry, but the thing is, the Randy you can. They're configurable. You can configure these two emergency channels. On the Jerry, they're preset, and you can't. As far as I know, you can't configure them, but you still have the EMG or the emergency channels. So they're there, and they're just kind of in more of a static state.
So are the emergency channels like the weather channels? Is that what they're calling an emergency channel?
I'm thinking, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking those emergency channels are probably 9 and 19. I mean, that's the standard, right? For CB, okay. 9 and 19.
Gotcha.
So, and then you have
the Randy would have a feature sort of like the KGS-72C from Ocean.
Right.
Where you can set your own favorite channels or whatever. But
right.
The Jerry is limited to 9 and 19. That makes sense.
Yeah. So you have the orange multifunction LCD display that it'll display channels and frequencies, which is nice. You've got a scan feature, and I understand it's kind of a basic scan feature because with the Randy, it could do some priority scanning and things like that, and you don't really have that here. It's just pretty much a scan. It does have the manual squelch and the automatic squelch control, what they call their ASC. The ANL filter, the noise blanker, high cut filter, dual watch. They have dual watch on here. I think they might have dual watch. Let me see. This one I think does have dual watch, if I'm not mistaken. It also has a beep function, a Roger beep. It's got the 9-key keypad, same keypad as the Randy. It does have an F function key on it, so that's good. And an up-down channel selector. It does have high-low power modes and a low battery alert. It has a key lock, and it does have the built-in flashlight. That's still there. So you've got that. And I think it takes the same audio connector as the Randy too. There's one other thing too, is that the lithium-ion battery is the same 1800 milliamp battery as the Randy. So for the most part, it's going to accept most all of the accessories that the Randy accepts, the Randy 2. So, it does have that 2-year manufacturer warranty. So for the most part, if you have a Randy 2 already and say, hey, I want to get a Jerry or something and for the spouse or the kids or whatever to talk with them, it's compatible.
Yeah, I like it. I think I like what they've done here. The price point, I think, is the big winner at $130 or so. Mm-hmm. I think there are lots of people that were scared off of the Randy at $165 will consider the Jerry at $130 because it has 90% of the features of the Randy from what we're seeing.
I think it has the key features, the ones that are really important.
Yeah, it has the key features. It lacks some of the accessories, but I think I think it's got the most important ones. The only question I have is the charger, of course.
Well, I do believe that the charger is I think you can purchase that as another. It probably uses the same charger, I'm pretty sure, and it can be purchased as an accessory.
But when you add a charger and when you add an adapter for the TNC to UHF, Now that's probably going to add another $20-25 by the time you get it shipped to you. So you might as well just start with the Randy if you need those things.
Yeah. Well, the accessories that I have here are the replacement AC adapter and the desktop dock for that should work with them, and the Randy speaker microphone. That the speaker microphone that's used for the Randy and the Randy 2 should work with this, and the battery. So those items, at least I know
maybe if you
work.
want to charge, outside your vehicle, you just need to purchase the Randy dock.
Yeah.
Separately.
Yeah, I think so.
But again, that's probably going to add $20.
Mm-hmm. All right, but that's the President Jerry FCC. So
here's what I want to know. The president for a long time went by a naming convention of the presidents. Like you have President Ronald, President Harrison. The radios were named after a president of the United States.
Right.
Did they stop that, or am I missing something? Like, is there a President Jerry? Is there a President Randy?
I'm assuming we talked about the Randy before, and there are probably a few presidents that were kind of Randy. I mean,
so we're taking nicknames now.
I don't know, but the Jerry, I'm pretty sure the Jerry's probably named after Gerald Ford. That's my guess, but that's the first name that popped in. The first name of a president that popped into my head for the Jerry was Gerald Ford. So maybe that's what it is.
That's true. Now, wasn't his wife a CBer?
It was.
Who am I thinking of? There's a wife of one of the presidents that was.
Yeah, that was Betty Ford, I think, wasn't? No, well, she was in a clinic.
Betty Ford.
She had a clinic named after her.
That would be Gerald Ford's wife.
Yeah, whoever it was we have a blog post on it, and I completely forgot since I wrote the thing. But she was known as the first mama, I believe. And I can look it up real quick. Hold on a minute, because now it's
look it up. I don't want to leave our listeners in suspense.
No, I'm looking it up from our website here. Yes, you're right. You're correct. First Lady Betty Ford was reportedly an avid CB radio operator, and her CB handle was First Mama.
See, so I do read your blog.
Yeah, you read it more than I do. And I wrote the thing.
You didn't think I was reading those.
So
showed you.
Yeah. All right. Any other comments on the President? No, it's not Randy. All right. Any other comments? Go ahead.
My only comment is buy it. By the time you're hearing this episode, it should be, unless something went terribly wrong, it should be available for sale at buy2wayradios.com. You get 5% off with promo code SHOW. So now's the time. All
right. So any other comments on the President Jerry?
Did I steal your comment there with the coupon code and all that? It's only your line.
No, it's just that I didn't get to finish my line about the Jerry.
Go ahead. I'll be quiet.
Any other comments on the President Jerry FCC CB radio?
Nope. I think we got it.
All right. We have some comments and questions from our blog and our forum at twowayradioforum.com. The first one comes from Anthony. And Anthony wants to know, I have a Cobra walkie-talkie PX655, and my cousin has a Motorola XTS 1500 walkie-talkie, and I was trying to talk to each, but we didn't know if they will work. And that's from Anthony. Well, Anthony, the short answer is no. The Cobra PX655 is a consumer FRS radio, and the Motorola XTS 1500 is a digital P25 radio, and that operates on public service frequencies. So, no, they won't talk to each other.
You know, we get these questions all the time about, will this talk to this?
Yeah.
Somebody needs to make a database of all of these radios so that you can just type in your model and boom, yes, no, here's what you do. wonder if ChatGPT can build that for me.
Oh, well, it could be. All right. Our next one comes from Joe. And Joe is responding to, I believe he's responding to episode 190, where we talked about which is better, ham or GMRS. And Joe says, you mentioned a bank of 300 questions for the technician license. Where do I find these 300 questions? And that's from Joe. You remember we were going over the number of questions in there, and you mentioned, Danny, you mentioned that it was 300 questions for the tech license.
That's right.
So
where to find the 300 questions? I'm trying to think back to when I was studying for my license. I went through the ARRL book, and the ARRL puts out a book that's, I don't know, probably 200 pages, and there's 9 chapters, I believe, that if you can go beginning to end, and you get a good understanding of ham, and it prepares you for the test. But in the back, there's just a list of all the questions.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least there was 10 years ago when I was doing it.
The ARRL book, and I believe the Gordon West book as well. The Gordon West Technician Manual will have all the question pool and goes through all of them. Now, of course,
Gordon West is more just concentrated on the questions, right?
Pretty much the questions and the answers. Yeah. Now, when Danny and I took the tests for the technician, which was way, way back, when you and I took these tests, Danny, some time ago, I think that's about what they were. The question pool was about 300, 350 or something like that. I don't remember. It was just so long ago. But I did check with the current manuals that we have in stock at by2wayradios.com. And I think the current question pool is at 411. I think that's where it currently is, at 411 questions. So
wow. Okay. We got off easy.
I guess we did.
I believe when I was doing it, it was 300 was the pool for general and tech, and then it was 500 for extra.
Yep. All right. We have one more. This is also in response to episode 190, our ham or GMRS episode. If you haven't heard it, go back and listen to it. Episode 190, ham or GMRS. It was a pretty good episode. We've had a lot of views and a lot of listens. We've had a lot of listens to the audio version and a lot of views on the video podcast as well. It seems to have been pretty popular, and a lot of people have liked it. This one is from Sean. Sean says, I listened to the podcast this morning and agree with most of your points. I have had an amateur, general now, license for several decades. When I got into amateur radio, I did it mostly to communicate during group desert off-road trips. I had never heard of GMRS and didn't really learn about it until about 5 years ago. GMRS is my go-to service nowadays as my family and friends are not interested in amateur radio. I was never into HF or contesting. I just wanted a means for local communications. Both ham and GMRS are valid and useful services depending on what you want to use them for. I will keep my amateur license up to date even though I don't use it often. Thanks for another good podcast. And he has an append to this. He says, the comment about the FCC using the testing procedure to make sure people can operate safely. There are many people who can ace a test without learning anything, but you guys know that, and I got the feeling you avoided making this comment yourselves in your program. And that's from Sean. It kind of occurred to me, but I thought, I don't want to go there. It's just
there's a lot of people that do. They just want to study the questions, like the guy that asked the question before. Like, where could I just get a list of the questions and learn those? Of course that happens. Of course.
Sure.
But maybe you pick up something by learning a 411 question pool. You're gonna pick up a thing or two.
All right, well, I guess that does it for the comments and questions in this episode. Send in your comments and questions for Danny or myself to show@bytwowayradios.com. If you want to know more about today's topic or about two-way radios in general, check out our forum discussions at twowayradioforum.com. And it's free to join, folks. It's free to join. Just jump in and participate and just have a good time with the rest of us. You can subscribe to the Two-Way Radio Show directly from our website at twowayradioshow.com or hear it wherever you can hear a podcast. And you can subscribe by email. If you click the subscribe by email button on the Two-Way Radio Show podcast page at twowayradioshow.com, put in your email address, you'll get the latest episode of the Two-Way Radio Show as soon as it's released. All right, I guess that does it for this show. Before we go, any final comment?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, today's show is sponsored by bytwowayradios.com. Whether you're searching for two-way radios for general consumer or business use, Buy Two-Way Radios can help you find the best solution for your needs. Enter the promo code SHOW at checkout and save an additional 5% off your order. Give us a call at 1-800-584-1445 or enter our live chat at bytwowayradios.com. Well, everyone, as always, thanks for listening, and until next time, for the Two-Way Radio Show, I'm Rick Savoya.
And I'm Danny Feemster.
And we're out.